G'day folks. Well, I just thought I'd drain the fuel out of the Daewoo Lanos tank and replace it with proper petrol, but I had the filter or pump assembly out and you can see the amount of crap that's come out of that tank. This filter must be full of some kind of like a gauze or other filtration media, and you can see all this debris that's coming out of it. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if its injection misfiring issues were related to a lack of fuel flow. That's kind of nasty. You can just see it dribbling out onto the rag, and that's pretty bad. It wouldn't, like, it was getting to the point where it wouldn't even just dump fuel. I've got the fuel line off the filter and just dumping into a 20 litre drum just to drain the diesel fuel mix, and it just doesn't want to do it. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least if this is half the problem. It's just full of muck. Yeah. If I can unclip this thing, we'll have a bit of a closer look. Even take this off and just have a look at the pump. So I believe the large hose will be the low pressure return, and the small one will be the high pressure out to the injection rail, and then it just bypasses and circulates when required. And that little potentiometer there is your fuel level gauge. The float just floats up and changes the resistance of that variable resistor. I'm guessing it's lower to higher, given the way the wiper almost creates a dead short across here for high fuel and increases resistance for lower fuel. So there, that's pretty much how a lot of them work. It's either a float that goes up and down a linear scale, or it's one like that. And that there, I'm not sure, that might be a fuel out sensor, empty fuel, or maybe it turns the fuel light on, the warning light. Might be a little float switch, considering how it sits. Yeah, if that's a little float switch, that'll turn the low fuel warning light on, telling you you're critical. You have to fuel up. But yeah, it's kind of interesting the way they've done it. It's all encased, and I bet you that's half the problem. That filter looks pretty nasty. A lot of people don't realise it's not just the fuel filter in the engine bay you got to change. Sometimes this one has to be done too. It means taking the back seat off and removing that locking collar and pulling the whole lot out. It's not hard, just a bit messy. There's a bit of fuel out here. And I had to drain this whole canister too. I just went behind the shed and drained it into a drain pan and let it evaporate, and well, a lot of it's non-evaporation, evaporable liquid, but it does still smell like petrol, so there was still a bit in the tank. I think this thing's just been having trouble draining itself and pumping itself. Okay, well, pretty straightforward. There's a little gear pump inside it. There's a return, which I think is that one there, and that should dump back into the housing or somewhere. I think that's the valve in there, and that's the discharge side. So they do recirculate, but maybe the smaller tube's the return, because it just goes out to nowhere, whereas this one here's the discharge, and that doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah, so the large hose must be the discharge line to the engine bay, and the other one must be the return. Doesn't make sense though. It's also got another filter on it, at least for the bottom of the housing. And that, yeah, that's pretty bad. All the sludge and crap out of the tank. Okay, well, after much screwing around trying to get that tank drained, I finally did, and I've refilled it with regular gasoline, like 91, just cheap stuff. So there's about 10-12 litres in there. Let's see what happens. I expect the plugs are not going to be very happy with me. Yeah. I think I broke something. Well, excuse the wind noise, it's rather infuriating at the moment, but it's the only way I'm going to be able to film. So yeah, thanks to Daewoo Parts for sending these plates in for little Daewoo. I figured it'd be fitting. Let's give it a bit of a kickstart. I don't have any start, you bastard, but I do have some contact cleaner or degreaser, both of which work very well. I'm guessing the top of the injection rail still has diesel in it, so it's going to take a while to get it through. That poor alternator belt. The battery's getting low and the alternator's pulling full amps. And it wants to fire, but I think the EFI is just completely out. I think I finished off the injectors. They weren't happy to start with, but I think I made it worse. It's pretty good though. As soon as you give it a bit of external help, it's fine, but as soon as you want to run off the injectors, it's not so happy. It's telling me something, it sort of wants to work. Oh well, it's not completely broken. Okay, well, next day I've done a bit of poking around and put a pressure gauge across the, or straight off the fuel filter from the pump, and it's barely making 40 pounds. It's supposed to be like 63. So we're a bit low on fuel pressure, and if I plug up the return from the fuel pressure regulator, it actually works alright. So I'm thinking either the reg's gone or it's a the fuel pump itself is just too tired to do it, but it does work now, so I can move it. But yeah, this car doesn't have much time left in the world. It's not a bad thing though. I mean, I went to the wreckers and just asked them if they had one floating around, and the minimum they could do was $55 for the whole, tank assembly. Just quickly, I just go and quickly rip it out and get it, and yeah, $55. It's not worth it for a car like this. Not happy though. I think I broke something. There we go. Wow, something's really messed up. It's like the ignition is a mile off. I think I damaged the ECU or something. It just had such a hard time retarding the ignition and trying to stop the pinging, it's just stuck. No, you give it any gas and it just tries to blow up. Oh well, this car's toast. I think I damaged more than the fuel pump. Oh, that was fun. At least I know I can clear the area and move it up there and start breaking it down completely. I even asked them at the wreckers if they wanted anything off it, and they just said no, bin it all. Like, they've already got squillions of doors and glass and all that stuff. There's just so many parts for these around. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun anyway. I'll get the air cannon out and see if we can shoot a hole in a car door. Put some dents in it, get some little lead pellets and shoot them at it. Bit of fun. Glass, well, you try the windscreen. See if we can penetrate the windscreen, although if I can get it out in one piece, it'd actually make a nice little blast screen. The trick's getting it out in one piece, because I think they're glued in. Yeah, that'd be interesting. It's a shame there's no airbags in these. You could have some real fun. And yeah, I'll keep the clock or whatever it is. Yeah, it's just a regular vacuum fluorescent display clock. Radio thing, nothing special. Philips cassette deck. Cup holders. Everything needs cup holders. Anyway, they were